Europe is basically saying, we're about to sell off American assets. If the United States or Donald Trump keeps insisting on wanting to take over Greenland like that, NATO is not okay with it at all. So now Europe is saying, however many American assets we have, we're going to join forces and sell them. This is like a financial weapon that Europe is threatening America with. And right now, America is starting to feel it too. They're feeling the heat and the chills too, because Janet Yellen, the U.S. Secretary of the Treasury, came out and told everyone who's threatening to sell off U.S. government bonds to calm down. Do you know why? Because America and Europe have been close friends for a long time. Their businesses are deeply interconnected, and Europe actually holds a huge amount of American assets. Seriously, later in this clip, I'll tell you just how much they really have. So if all of Europe were to unite their economic power and decided to collectively liquidate their holdings of U.S. assets together, honestly, America would be in an incredibly precarious financial situation. But the reality of the situation is that if Europe actually did that, would Europe go down too? Well, in this video, I'm going to break it down for you point by point, so we can get a clearer picture of which assets might go up and which ones might take a nosedive. And about that scenario where Europe supposedly dumps American assets, how likely is it to actually happen? If it does, just how severe could it get? Let's find out together in this video. You can support the information about Europe selling off America by scanning the QR code, or you can easily support the Sai Money Monster channel. Just hit like, share, or drop a comment to chat and interact. You can also save this video to watch later. And what I'd really love for you to do most is please hit the subscribe button for me. If you've already subscribed, don't hit it again, but if you haven't yet, just press it once. That's enough. That way, when I upload the next video, we'll get to see each other again. Thank you. All right, everyone. Right now, when you open your portfolio, the first thing you'll notice is, wow, the price of gold has already shot through the stratosphere. Meanwhile, the U.S. stock market, like the S&P 500, keeps stumbling and tripping up a lot because there's this situation where two economic superpowers are basically squaring off. That's Europe, or the NATO side, saying they're going to weaponize financial tools, basically firing financial weapons against the United States by threatening to sell off all American assets if the U.S. doesn't stop its efforts to get Greenland so badly. When something like this happens, the first thing we want to know is, oh, those financial weapons that Europe is threatening to use by selling off U.S. assets? Just how powerful is it when you really think about it? If you want to know just how dangerous it is, it actually heavily depends on how much money is involved, right? Sweet Rossi has data based on an analysis by the Federal Reserve, as recently reported by the Financial Times. NATO member countries in Europe collectively hold about $12.6 trillion in U.S. assets. That's about 1/3 of all foreign holdings. It's a huge amount. Most of the U.S. assets that Europe holds are in the form of stocks, mainly S&P 500 stocks. Europeans also hold a significant amount of U.S. government bonds, up to $2.8 trillion, which is about 10% of the entire U.S. government bond market. That's a lot. Wow. That means the financial weapon that Europe says it could use against America is seriously powerful. The biggest shot Europe could fire would be as much as $12.6 trillion. But let me clarify in this video. The numbers I'm mentioning don't mean that Europe will actually use all of it. I'm just saying that the maximum they could use is $12.6 trillion. So don't jump to conclusions just yet. Just park over there. No need to turn in here. Some people don't understand. Like, Europe holds $12.6 trillion in American assets. How could that be used as a financial weapon? Well, it's like this. Just dumping those assets would already hurt America. For example, Europe holds a total of $2.8 trillion in U.S. government bonds, which is about 10% of the entire U.S. government bond market, right? If Europe suddenly dumped those bonds, the price would... It would be a complete and total disaster. That would cause U.S. government bonds, which are basically the national debt of the United States, to lose their credibility quite drastically. And if a debt instrument loses a significant amount of credibility in a very short period of time, it means that to borrow more money, they'd have to offer much higher interest rates. So U.S. government bond yields would skyrocket almost immediately. And when yields go up, by the way, yield and interest rate are basically the same thing. If the U.S. wants to borrow more money, they'll have to do it at a higher cost because they'll have to pay higher interest. Higher interest means a bigger debt burden. So should America be worried? Absolutely. Because if you ask, can America just stop borrowing more money right now? The answer is no way, because the economy and everything. Right now, the U.S. economy is basically running on debt. To put it simply, without getting too deep into explanations, just look at the numbers that reflect the financial health of the United States. The U.S. public debt is currently about 125% of GDP, and the U.S. government budget, it's running a deficit. The deficit is at -6% of GDP. The yield on the 10-year Treasury is already high right now, sitting at 4.3%, which is above the normal average. And even with yields at this level, do you know how much the U.S. has to pay in interest on its debt every day? Last year, in 2025, the interest payments totaled $970 billion. Just the interest alone is one of the top government expenditures in the United States. That $970 billion, if you compare it to GDP, it's 3.2% of GDP. But if you compare it to the US government budget, it accounts for 13.8% of total government spending. So if Europe were to suddenly unite and work together to dump all the US government bonds they hold at once, then it could potentially end up pushing the United States into a completely unexpected financial and fiscal crisis, much like experiencing a sudden heart attack. Now that we've reached this point, there must be some people watching who are rooting for Europe, like, yeah, Europe, sell it all, or something like that. Hold on a second, because if Europe really does start dumping American assets, America wouldn't be the only one to go down or get hurt. Even if Europe does it, it's not something to take lightly. The point is, America won't be the only one suffering. Europe will too. Europe would definitely get hurt too, maybe even more than America. But before we get into why Europe would also suffer, and maybe even more so, I have to say that Europe saying it will dump or sell off US assets isn't as easy as it sounds. There are three major problems with that. First, yes, Europe does hold a massive amount of American assets. That's true. But the people holding those assets in Europe aren't just governments. Private companies hold them too. So even if the government says it's going to sell off American assets, can it really force private companies to sell as well? Maybe it can, maybe it can't, right? But there are reasons why it probably wouldn't be easy to make private companies join in and sell off US assets together. Because for point number two, if each European government actually forced private companies to all work together and dump US assets at the same time, every single asset, if everyone, big and small, sold off all at once, the prices of those assets would just crash. That means the people who let the government force them or who willingly agree to sell have to accept that they're going to take massive losses from selling off the assets they own. Can they handle that? And for point number three, it's kind of like being stuck in a loop. Europe holds a lot of US assets, right? That means Europe is storing a huge portion of its own wealth in US assets. So if Europe were to dump US assets, they'd take a loss, which means their own wealth would take a hit. Would that hurt America? Yes. And it would hurt Europe too. There's nothing they can do about it. They've been friends for a long time, right? It's something that just doesn't seem like it could break apart easily. Or could it? That's why the economies of America and Europe have been deeply interconnected for a long time. So it's not surprising at all that if something happens to one, the other gets dragged down too. Like, if you go down, I go down with you. This has already happened before. For example, take the subprime crisis in 2008. Remember that? The bad debt started in the United States, but the ones who got hit even harder were the banks in Europe. It didn't just happen recently. It happened back when we were teenagers, right? We can still kind of remember it, but anyway. It doesn't mean that Europe can't do anything at all, or that they have no power to financially compete with the United States. That's not true. They still have some power, but maybe it's more about limiting the damage. You see, Europe holds US assets, right? Like I said, both governments and private sectors hold them. So if we narrow down the options to just that part, the part held by the government or in pension funds and things like that, then they can limit the severity of the impact while still keeping some bargaining power. But it might not go so far as to trigger a full-blown financial crisis. For example, if Europe really wanted to negotiate or bargain, they might gradually sell off US government bonds, the treasuries that the government holds, or those held by sovereign wealth funds, or sell off in the part of the pension funds. Even just doing that would have an impact on the yield or the interest rates of US government bonds, which would have to go up, and that would increase the debt burden for the United States. This could be used as a bargaining chip, but it might not be as drastic as dumping everything all at once. Another thing they could do is try to prevent European money from flowing into America, because as I mentioned, Europeans really do love SEPs, because it's been really profitable in the past. But if Europe decides it doesn't want European money to keep flowing into America, they might use tax measures to discourage Europeans from buying American stocks. For example, if you buy US stocks and make a profit, they could tax those gains, just like some countries already do. Or if you invest in European stocks instead, you might get a tax break or deduction. That's another possible approach. But regardless of the specific method they choose, whether they sell off a massive amount or just a little bit of America, the United States won't be completely ruined. Scott Bessent, who currently serves as the US Secretary of the Treasury, has officially come out and said to everyone talking about dumping US government bonds, everyone, please calm down. Please do not dump them, and definitely do not try to retaliate against the various actions of the United States. At the same time, Donald Trump also spoke out, emphasizing, don't sell US assets. Otherwise, America will retaliate. Hey, don't forget that America is holding all the cards right now. Everyone is starting to get confused about what's going on. What are all the cards that Donald Trump says he's holding? Not a winning hand. Not funny. Every card that Donald is holding is basically a financial weapon. It's like an arsenal. And it really is everything, whether it's sanctions or embargoes. So who has been hit by these already? The heavy hitters are Russia and North Korea. They've been sanctioned for a long time. Iran too, things like that. Sanctions and embargoes mean you can't do business with American banks. You can't do business with American companies. Basically, not being allowed to do financial transactions means you can't buy or sell anything with the United States at all. Yeah, that's definitely going to cause you some serious trouble. Or number two, another financial weapon the US uses is tariffs, raising import taxes to block trade altogether. I probably don't need to explain this one too much because right now it's happening all over the world. Thailand's been hit, China's been hit even harder, and as for Europe, well, they're kind of threatening each other, like, hey, I'll raise it, that sort of thing. And number three, oh, this one's the coldest. This is called freezing assets or seizing someone's property. The people who get hit by this, the one that really got hit hard was Russia. Remember? Russia had $300 billion seized from the SWIFT system. At that time, the whole world was like, whoa, you actually seized Russia's money? Is the dollar still going to be okay? And is our money safe in the SWIFT system? Now, the answer to that question is getting closer, whether it's really safe or not. So right now, what I really want to know is, how much euro does Europe have in the SWIFT system? The answer is sand. If anyone knows, please comment and let me know because I couldn't find it. But what I do know is that there must be several trillion euros for sure. If the US were to freeze it, Europe would definitely go bankrupt, but the dollar would probably collapse too. Like I said, they're deeply dependent on each other. Because if the US ever got to the point of freezing Europe's euros in the SWIFT system, no one would believe in the dollar anymore. Honestly, the US's financial weapons are powerful, right? But every time they're used, there's a price to pay, and it's a steep one. That price is the credibility of the US dollar, which keeps diminishing. And this time, the weapon hasn't even been fired yet. They've just threatened to use it, and we're already paying the price. To be real, the credibility of the US dollar has already gone down. It's been going down ever since the US seized Russia's money, and it's become even more obvious this year. If you look back over the past year, from January 2025 up until now, the DXY, or the value of the dollar, has depreciated and is now down by 11.5%. And if you zoom in a bit more, you'll see that ever since that incident when Donald Trump wanted to buy Greenland, the DXY dropped even further, falling another 2.5%. And just a short period, really. Like I said, confidence in the US dollar has been steadily declining ever since they seized other people's money. And today, it's not just Europe that recently announced they're going to dump US assets. Some countries have been doing this for a long time. Like China and Russia, everyone knows they've been gradually selling off American assets for quite a while now. Or even this. Some people might not know this yet, but some European countries have also been consistently selling off US government bonds. That country is Denmark. If we look at the numbers, Denmark once held US government bonds at a peak of $25 billion. But since 2016, Denmark has been gradually selling off its US government bonds. And in the last 12 months, over the past 12 months, Denmark has been selling off US government bonds very quickly. The point when they started selling rapidly, do you know when that was? It was when Donald Trump became president of the United States. Because from that time, he started saying he wanted Greenland. So in the past 12 months, Denmark has sold about $4 billion worth of US government bonds, which Denmark probably sold off in a pretty cool-headed way too, because that $4 billion helped them avoid a loss of over 11%. And honestly, everything the United States has done and continues to do up to now really explains the behavior of central banks around the world when it comes to buying gold. It clearly shows why Russia has been stockpiling so much of its reserves in gold. So if you ask about reserves, so how much gold does Russia have in reserves today? It's about $216 billion. That's almost equal to the amount of money the US seized from them. This is the part that has increased. And this situation really explains why Poland has become one of the biggest gold buyers in the world. It also explains why Germany had to bring its gold back home to avoid any counterparty risk, so that others aren't holding their gold. That's the point. Of course, this also explains why China has been stockpiling so much gold in its reserves, why China had to build the gold corridor network, and why they established the Shanghai Gold Exchange to send a message to the world that if you don't actually hold the gold yourself, you are not really the owner. And right now, it's safe to say that at this point, it's Europe's turn to learn this lesson, and they need to learn it very quickly.